Good morning. Here we are. It's the Fun Side of Business podcast. I'm Nick Hampton and I'm here with
Gemma Addison.
Hi, Gem. So today we are joined by, I'm probably going to keep saying like the man, the myth, the legend and what have you for everyone who comes
For
in.
everyone.
But this one is someone who I particularly want to get onto the podcast because he has a very good story to tell. He has a meteoric rise to, in his career. And so we are, without further ado, going to welcome James Gunther, one of the partners of Fenwright.
Woo!
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It sounded like, again, every time it's like, throw the fish to the sea lions.
Sea lions.
Yeah. Oh, right. Anyway, so without further ado, let's go along and hear from the person that everyone wants to hear from. James, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Morning and thank you. I hope I can live up to the fantastic setup you give me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so James, what we'd like to try and do with our guests on here is to try and round you out a little bit as a, because everyone now sees you as, James Gunther, partner, Fenwright. Okay,
Yeah.
That's your professional image. That's the person that's there. But obviously, if you consider a mini James leaving high school at 16, there's got to be some kind of, massive thing, some huge turning points in your life to get from where you were to where you are now.
Yeah. I think, I left school while I was at school, did my GCSEs, obviously, as everyone does. Left school, stayed in school for further education, college, studied sociology, history and business studies at A-level.
Obviously, history was really important to you in your future career, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. As it appears in sociology.
Yeah, there we
It's
go.
got him to where he is today.
But there we go. Yeah, absolutely. So, and then I made a decision while I was at college. I took a part-time job, working.
So were those things A-levels you did?
The A-levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then out to work?
After that, I was already in work,
Okay.
working part-time at McDonald's, believe it or
Nice.
not, of all places. And I didn't go to university because I didn't really know what I wanted to do or be. So, being quite commercially minded, I thought to myself, what's the point of raising lots of debt? Probably having 3 or 4 years of lots of fun, but coming out with a lot of debt around my neck and possibly a qualification that I may never utilise in my career anyway.
Mhm.
So, that's
If you would have gone on, would you have done sociology, history, or business studies? I don't know why. I just
I don't know, actually. I don't know. Yeah,
That's why he didn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no idea.
Yeah. My A-level, during my A-levels, I thought, God, blimey, these are 3 subjects that perhaps I won't want to continue with moving forward. So I think that was kind of the start of it. And having left college, got my qualifications, already working at McDonald's, I just increased my hours. So I ended up going full-time there at McDonald's.
To be fair, McDonald's had a really good, almost not so much graduate program, but a program for someone who kind of went in there and went, let's start from the bottom.
Yeah.
To get them all the way, if they wanted to, through to store manager.
They do.
Yeah.
It's highly structured. It's a very successful business, as you can tell. And
Fantastic landlords, right?
the training is very good, and the pay actually is quite reasonable as well. To be fair, they do pay well.
I'm going to give you a little known fact, James, just because we do the let's find out about people.
Yeah.
So I had a brief stint at McDonald's,
Did
you can tell how long this ago it was that I was involved. Ready for this? Because everyone will think this is a myth. On the pizza station
Oh wow.
at
Pizza
McDonald's.
at McDonald's.
There was a
See,
pizza.
there used to be. There used to be.
It was only
Long
maybe
time
like
ago.
a year, 2 years it was there, but I trained on McPizzas.
Okay, but either I'm not
Yeah.
up on my McDonald's menu or you two are showing your age because I can't remember the pizzas at
If it
McDonald's.
helps, James could remember it because he was about 10 at the time. I would have been working there. So yeah,
Oh,
that's a
wow.
difference.
So Nick, this makes me wonder if it's your incompetence on that stuff that led to them canning the.
Well, I never heard of him.
Yeah,
That was it.
absolutely.
You
My
ruined it
Gemma's
that
never heard of them.
So at McDonald's.
Yeah, so I started working
more hours.
More hours, absolutely. I started working practically 5 days a week, full time. It's obviously shift work. It's hard work. You know, anyone that works there will appreciate this comment. It's very, very hard.
Pizza
work.
station's easy, though.
It's
not that most people would know. But
well, I was going to say, well, it was easier when I was there because I didn't have it. They kind of phased it out as I turned in. They said, thanks to Nick Hampton, it didn't quite return the profit we'd expected. So
we're really hopeful, but yeah, it's not happening.
So we'll bring in something else, and that's what I did. So it's long hours, it's shift work. So it's early mornings, it's late into the evenings. When what people don't always appreciate, when the store closes, you then have to stay behind for another hour or two to clean the store down. So and as I was 18 back then. As an 18-year-old, it was, I guess, clashing with my personal life and what I wanted to do and go out with my friends and girlfriends, etc., etc. So I thought this is possibly not the place I want to build my career. Incidentally, while I was there, I did get up to training squad. I took my floor manager's exams, which
so you were
to do.
So you were Jimmy 1-star,
and I 5 stars.
You were 5-star Jimmy.
5 stars.
Oh, wow.
I know. Wow. 5 stars training squad. Then took my floor manager's exams, 3 exams. I had to go over 75% in each. Managed to pass them all miraculously, which is good.
That's shade. Well, you sound so proud of that. I'm waiting for him to bring it as NRA, and it's like, yes,
so I got to the heady heights of being, I guess, a qualified floor manager, and then decided that for purposes of my social life and where I was in my life at the moment, probably shift work wasn't what I wanted to be doing. So it's saying, well, what am I going to do then? I've got my A-level qualifications. I've not gone to university like my friends were at university at that point in time. So I remember sitting down with my mum around the dining room table, and it's like, what interests you? And I had a huge interest back then in sports journalism. I'd always loved, when I was young, very young, 9, 10, 11, 12, I loved writing about mainly football matches, snooker games, and I would like to just a little book, and I'd write little commentary about it. So if I was going to be a sports journalist, but my English grades weren't sufficient for me to, and back then it was a very different and difficult world to get into.
Everything was about, what you could prove on a GCSE, right?
Yeah,
or an A-level, you haven't done A-level English. Oh, then obviously you can't read or write.
Yeah,
obviously.
Absolutely. But there wasn't as many avenues to get into it then. Now with social media and what have you, it's a lot easier for people to get into.
Yeah, I mean, anyone could start a podcast,
anyone
right?
Could start.
Even if they shouldn't do that. Leave your comments down below. Yeah,
I really thought I'd subtly slid that through, and you both picked up on it, So, go on, I must be more subtle in the future. Note to self. So I kind of sat down. It was, what do you want to do? I said, well, I like talking to people. I like looking smart. I like the idea of wearing a suit going to work. And that was kind of where it stemmed from. So we were sort of doing a little brainstorming session around the dining room table as a sort of 18-year-old at the time. And right, okay, then where can we send CVs off to? So it's the obvious solicitors, accountants, building societies, banks, estate agents, all of the different places where you could go to work.
All of those most loved careers and most loved professionals, right?
Yeah.
If you could write the list of the most loved professionals, solicitor, accountant,
all the fun
estate
ones.
agent,
so
banker.
What I don't know is the career I've ended up in, where that ranks amongst the 4 or 5 I've just mentioned. I've got a feeling it might be towards the mid to lower echelons, but let's leave it out there for people to decide themselves.
Yeah.
So I sent my CV off to many different places, had various interviews, with interviews at NatWest. Actually had an interview with Coots Bank at the time.
Okay.
I didn't have enough life experience back then. So
I didn't have enough life experience to count the Queen's money.
Well, I guess so.
Very important job.
So, it's quite an important job, and absolutely. So, and then Fenwright interviewed me, and actually the first point interview they didn't take me on.
Okay.
They didn't take me on. No, they took
There's
me
a
on.
lesser known fact.
I know. I never knew that.
James, the partner, got rejected as an
Yes,
employee.
I did. Yeah, first point interview I was rejected, and then
Did they tell you why?
They said it was a very close run thing, but the gentleman they'd taken on had. I mean, I lived at the time. I was living in Clacton. Was applying for a job in Colchester. Part of my job obviously involves local knowledge, and of course I had very little local knowledge at that age of the town, so it's something I would have needed to build up, whereas the other gentleman lived in Colchester already, so therefore I had a little bit more local knowledge. So I absolutely understand.
You don't mind it if it's that sort of
yeah, absolutely.
It's not a
Please tell me,
thing.
is he still there? And tell me that when you made partner, you went, you're fired. Don't ever take my job.
Well, no, he's not still there. So I don't actually know who the person is, because he worked there for 3 or 4 months, I suppose it was. So and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I got a phone call saying the gentleman we had employed is sort of no longer with us, and we've still got a position available. Would you like to come in and have a second interview for that position you interviewed for 3 or 4 months ago? So I said, yes, please, because I was still working, at McDonald's at the time. Nothing had changed for me. So I went for the second interview, and then they decided to take me on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where my journey at Fenwright
where your journey started.
Yeah.
So what's this? Is this like you were 20, 21, 22?
19
19
at the time. Yeah, so a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I was 19, and at that point in time, I thought, well, I get to go to work wearing a suit.
In a suit, yeah.
I've achieved one of the aims.
I'm wearing my suit and my tie.
It was kind of back to the dining room conversation, the dining room table, me and my mum, and I thought, yeah, great, okay, fantastic.
I'm in the suit.
I've ticked one of my boxes, one of my key boxes are ticked there. And I like talking to people, and obviously being an agent, a lot of it is about talking to people, building relationships with people. So I thought, well, that's great. I'll get to speak to people. And I suppose, and I interview a lot of people these days, and often say to people, I don't think anyone really grows up wanting to be an estate agent. I mean, I certainly didn't. I don't think it's, often when you go for your careers meetings at school, it's kind of, doctors,
I really
firemen.
want to be an estate agent.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't even on the list of options, I don't think, when I went through my careers meetings at school. Well, that's a long time ago.
Well, you were set on history, apparently, weren't you? So.
Well, this is it. Yeah, it's history and sports journalism.
Yeah.
It was me.
He was going to start his own museum.
So I
there you go.
I had a tunnel vision on those two subjects at the time. So but it's a great industry to work in. It's fantastic if you enjoy talking to people. It's a fantastic industry to work in.
So literally, you went McDonald's, Fenwright's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing in between. Yeah. Nothing in between. So started as a trainee long time ago. No experience. Obviously didn't really know the town as familiarly as perhaps I would have done, because I was living in Clacton at the time, commuting to Colchester, I found it really enjoyable.
So when they offered you a second time, did you have to up your knowledge of Colchester? Or was that still important?
Yeah, of course it was. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the key facets to any good agent is knowing the territory you cover, knowing intimately what are the good schools, where is it in relation to hospitals,
well, that's all the questions people ask, isn't it?
Commuter links, sort of green areas and stuff like that. So it's knowing the patch is quite important.
So I've got a question for you, James. When you recruit, because obviously I'm guessing now, like, there's so much technology and AI and Google Maps and comparatives and all this data that people have got at their fingertips. How important is that still? So if ever you're like, you're trying to find someone for the Ipswich branch or the Colchester branch or somewhere else, how much are you reliant on local knowledge, or how much are you actually kind of going, well, no, they're pretty data driven, we don't have to worry too much about their local knowledge?
I mean, the local knowledge is still important, because obviously there's only so much data can give you, and some, depending on, AI is obviously recently, AI is a new area of the marketplace, and obviously could change things. It remains to be seen how that will influence my industry, but certainly some of the data that's out there is 3 to 6 months, out of date, if that makes sense. So it's not, it's not what's happening in the market today. It's what was happening in the market 3 or 6 months ago.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Things like school Ofsted reports, they're not updated.
Yeah, but don't you get this thing of people just going, "I googled it, so I know what my house is worth," and you go, "But it just isn't."
Well, yes. I mean, it's the onset of the internet has really changed things quite considerably. When I started an agency, Rightmove wasn't around.
Okay.
It wasn't around when I started an agency. So it's still back to the old days of, you registered with me as an applicant and I'd say, okay, what's your address? I'd get an A4 envelope. I'd stuff it full of property details for the area you told me you're living. I'd send it in the post and I'd phone you and say, Gemma, Nick, when did you post it? My postman arrives about 11. I'd say, my envelope's in the post. Make sure you get a cup of coffee ready, and I'll phone you at 11:10.
Yeah,
you can tell me which ones you want to view. It was a very, very different world back then. Very different world.
That's crazy, isn't it? It just seems,
it's changed. But I mean, very simplistically, people buy from people, so it's about the personality of the individuals that might want to work for us or that we employ. Knowledge is important, but of course you can teach people that.
Do you find in an estate agency that the shift has happened the same as it is in a lot of other industries? So if you look back 15 years, 20 years, selling was always, the best salespeople were the pressure salespeople. Like, exactly as you said, the envelope's there. I'll call you 10 minutes later. When are you going to view? Let's go and get the viewings in. What do you think of the viewings? Can we make an offer? Can we do this? And it was always a press through it. Has it changed as much as it has in other industries where it's now a case of going, no, actually, people just need to, here's my problem, here's a solution, and you can be genuine and authentic about it?
Well, I think what's changed is I think we're living in an immediacy society today. People, if you call up and you register with us as an applicant, we can send you an email immediately with a set of property details or numerous sets of property details for properties that you've told us an area you're looking in. So that's changed quite a lot. What tends to happen these days is, back in the old days, I'd phone you up and I'd just send you an envelope full of property details and I'd say, which ones do you want to view, Gemma or Nick? And you'd say, I'd like to view X, Y, and Z, and we'd get those arranged for you. What tends to happen these days with the internet is people will receive an email from us, or receive a set of property details, and they'll take the postcode and they'll go online and they'll Google the postcode and they'll look at sold prices in that area. They'll look perhaps look at crime rates in the area. They'll perhaps look at school.
They go and do their own investigation.
Yes, they'll do the school Ofsted reports, etc., etc., etc. And then we might follow up and 48 hours later and say, hi, Gemma, we sent you a set of property details. It's in the village you told you wanted to live in, or the town. Would you like to view it? No, it's not for me, thank you. Why not? Oh, just not really for me.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thank you for that feedback. That's really,
that's great.
Yeah.
Really tangible.
Yeah, man in pub or Uncle Google told me.
Becomes everyone's best friend, doesn't it?
But that's the thing, and I suppose people don't always appreciate that. The Ofsted reports aren't updated weekly or monthly.
But that's the crazy part. Everyone thinks, it's on Google, it must be right. And this is the nonsense. When you go along and look at something and you go, Ofsted scored a whatever low score, instantly that score is horrendous. What it doesn't say is in 2022, and since then Ofsted offices have gone on and now it's in the top 5%. But because that doesn't appear top of Google, no one ever looks at it.
I think that's why it's so important, like James said, though, to have that relationship with your agent, to be able to trust your agent and know whatever you're saying, we will take that as gospel as opposed to what we're reading on the internet. Yeah, that relationship is crucial.
Yeah, I think it is really important. It's important for people to do their own research as well, obviously. And they perhaps that gives them a barometer.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily say it's the right thing for
But I've always thought that, if you look across a estate agency, and I think some of the industry has a, let's say, less than stellar reputation, because obviously you are going to get people who, and by the way, I can tell I've never heard this from Fenwrights or about Fenwrights, but in certain other estate agents where it's very much a case of, quick, let's just sell them anything and get a commission. But Fenwrights, it always seems that it's very much a case of we'll understand what people's needs are.
It is, yeah.
And then try and provide a proper tailored, specific approach rather than a wham, bam, thank you, can I have your commission?
Yeah, our reputation is so important to us, and we're an RICS registered organisation, so we get audited annually by the RICS. And it's, when a client comes to us, we want them to become, if you like, part of the Fenwright family. So, ultimately we become your property professional. We're a multidisciplinary organisation. So it's commercial property, residential property, rural and fisheries, building consultancy, property management, residential, commercial property management. We've got.
Do you know we should probably get sponsored by these people? We just heard about everything about Fenwright now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the list.
Yeah, coming next month. These sponsored by. Okay.
The list still goes on. I haven't finished yet, but no, I shall stop there.
But basically, it's across everything. So it's not just a case of, oh yeah, you want to buy a house, you can go to Fenwrights and get one. It's literally everything property.
Yeah. We consider ourselves the home of property. So there's we're one of the only businesses in the areas we operate in that can cover that whole spectrum for people. But when clients come to us, we want to do a fantastic service for them. For us, it's at the end of the process. What do you say about us? And we want you to be saying, you were fantastic. Whoever I dealt with in whatever department within Fenwright, you were fantastic. Because then you become part of, you become a fan. You become a fan of our business. If you become a fan of our business, you're going to go and
you're going to talk about
other people. If you've got any property related needs, go and speak to James or go and speak to someone at Fenwright, because they're really, really good. They're really knowledgeable and they looked after us. And then you become part of what I call the Fenwright family. And then we hopefully then become your property professionals, and you wouldn't go anywhere else to speak to anyone else because you wouldn't need to. Because we can cover all aspects for you. So that's how we look at business. And there's different types of businesses in all walks of life, isn't there? But that's how we do things.
So bringing everything back now. So and I know we've jumped a bit because we're talking all aspects of Fenwright. But when you went along, and so you were 20 years old, 19 years old, you've got your suit and tie. How on earth did you go from that point to going, was it just a natural progression, or did something happen, or a crossroads, or the planets aligned? How did you get from there to being a partner?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's any silver bullet to that question. But I think some of the key things you need to have really is you need to have aspiration. You need to aspire to, and that's aspiration, that's two-sided. That's aspiration personally for you in your own career, but also it's aspiration to achieve what your clients want them to achieve. If you're going out from a residential sales perspective and you're looking at a client's home and you think it's worth X amount of pounds, they might want perhaps a little bit more, whatever, and you come to an agreement on the price it goes to the market on. And people when people are moving, there's various different reasons for it. Sometimes it's financial distress. Sometimes it's bereavement. There's this whole range of emotions involved. So you have to aspire to achieve what that client wants you to do. Sometimes it's a time element. I need to be moved by X period of time for where it's maybe child schooling, job relocation, or whatever the case might be. So you have to aspire to achieve that for the client. So aspiration is important, both personally and professionally. I think resilience is probably one of the key traits, I'd say. It's a competitive marketplace. There's lots of other companies in our line of work doing the same thing, and you get a lot of rejection. A lot of rejection from clients. That could be at a low level. You show someone around a property and they don't want to buy it for whatever reason, and you're trying to then find them the next property that might tick the boxes that the original property didn't tick for them. If you're going out and you're valuing a client's house to hoping to introduce that instruction to the market and excited to sell it for them, they might say, well, thank you for your time, James, but I've decided I want to use another company for whatever reason.
So I'm guessing your rise was by you being excellent at your job.
I think commitment is,
he's so modest, isn't he? He can't just go along and say, yeah, guess I'm the man.
I'm the man. It's all because of the person I am.
I was very, very fortunate to grow up in a business that had so many skilled people working in it, and skilled and knowledgeable people working in it, and I was so fortunate. So I just had a very open mind.
And you had some good mentors.
I had fantastic mentors. Some really I could name a list longer than my arm of the fantastic people I've worked with over the years. And I had an open mind. I had commitment. I had determination, and I'm quite a competitive person as well. So obviously, in a sales industry, it's important you sell, right? So that's quite a key fundamental of the job. But equally, you have to develop the other skills. You have to develop the knowledge. You have to understand that you could have one street where the houses on the right hand side of the street are worth X amount, but the houses on the left hand side of the street might have south facing gardens and they're worth a percentage more. So you have to be able to understand those little bits and pieces of differences in the micro markets. I had an open mind. I listen. Got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Listen more than you talk. I should probably shut up, because I'm not advocating what I'm just telling people. But yeah, it's a lot of hard work, commitment, determination, and learning from those people around you. As I say, I'm very fortunate to have some fantastic people growing up, some of which I still work with today.
And I'm guessing it must be quite nice the fact that you did it. It sounds like it's really long, but what's like 20 years ago, something like that, when you started your rise?
Yeah, 23 years.
Because obviously everyone has immediacy now, which is almost like, well, hang on, if I work really hard this week, can I be branch manager by Friday? No, it doesn't quite work like that. So,
yes, I probably should have said patience as well. You have to, be patient as well. But yeah, so it's been fantastic. I'm just by sheer definition, my character is I kind of just take everything in my stride, if that makes sense. I don't over celebrate my successes. I always focusing on what's the next thing. Where can I go?
But it also comes across that you really enjoy what you do. And that speaks volumes, doesn't it? I can tell. Even
this is the thing. We normally try and have like a fun story about people. I don't think we even need to have a fun story here, because I think it's just like generally James's career is just fun.
Yeah, you can see it, you can feel it, kind of.
I love what I do, and what's that phrase? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah,
and I genuinely feel like that. I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do, and it's a feeling it gives you. At the end of the process, when I ring a client and say, right, congratulations, it's all completed, blah, blah, and my next question is, how was it for you? And that's a bit, and sometimes, we're only human, don't always get it.
And he's still married, so it's obviously working as well. It goes like that at the end of it, goes, how was it? No, I can't.
Yeah. But, you can sometimes learn, you're human, and sometimes there's areas of development you can pick up on and you can try and improve your business.
Of course.
And other times it's just absolutely fantastic, and you get clients deliver presents to you or thank you cards or anything like that. In fact, they just say thank you. That's
why you do.
That's why you do.
Jem had a question for you as well, which I'm just going to remind her about in case you haven't got this one. Shall I read out your question you want to know?
Yeah.
Is there ever a scenario where you might have a house for about 700,000 that you'll take a 200,000 offer and you'll convince someone to buy? Because Jem's in the market. If it helps, Jem's husband will go along and have a look, and his idea of like where they should live is cribs.
Yeah.
And Jem will go along and say, and this is what money we actually have to buy.
Yeah.
So the disparity there, Jem was hoping maybe you could hook her up and, help with that disparity across.
I saw this lovely house it was about 700, wasn't it? I said, I wonder if I contact them, they would accept my offer of 200.
I think, the phrase we have in the industry for that is champagne taste, lemonade lifestyle.
I love that.
That's the phrase we have. But,
I like that. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Bear in mind, we're acting for the people selling the property.
So
we'll be striving to achieve them 700 or as close to 700
or as close
as we
to.
can. Yeah.
But what about a quick sale? No, I can't. I'm trying for you,
that answers
Jem.
my question. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Maybe change your search criteria. I suggest
one of the drop downs on Rightmove, just go one level up.
Or I just change my husband. One or two.
Sorry, Eric, by the way. I think I have everything from James. I think we have a nice picture of James the person.
Yeah, I do too. Thank you so much, James. It's been a pleasure.
James, thank you so much for coming on. And I'll tell you what, let's round this off. If you've got someone who is 18 who aspires to wear a suit, because we know no one's at 18 and decides they want to go along and become an estate agent, but a suit aspiration, what advice would you give them?
I think we clarified the point, didn't we, that no one wants to be an estate agent. But no, it's a great industry to get into. One of the things I found when I first joined was you're not stuck behind a desk all day. You know, you get out, you get to meet people, you get to see some lovely properties, which is also fantastic. You know, I've got a bit of an interest in architecture anyway, so going out seeing different houses, seeing how people design them, extend them, you know, improve them, and different ideas you learn that you can, you know, then take back to your own home. So I think you've got to be, if you want to work in the industry, you've got to be resilient. That's the most important thing. You've got to be committed. You know, it's you know, relatively long hours at times. We're in a service-based industry. Ultimately, we're dealing with clients, and there's a lot of stress involved. It's, you know, up there with moving home, is up there with obviously bereavement and divorce, as, you know, the most stressful things you can do in your life or experience in your life. And every client handles stress differently. So we have to be very much in tune with that and understand. And some clients might shift work themselves, so you might need to talk to them outside of your usual operating hours and stuff like that. So it's resilience and commitment, I think, and aspiration. You know, if you're aspirational, you get a good feeling out of helping clients achieve their goals in their life, helping them move on for whatever reason it might be. And you're aspirational personally, there's a lot, you know, you can earn some good money in agency. You know, you maybe not when you come in. I mean, I actually took a pay cut going from McDonald's to Fenwright. I took a pay cut, quite a big one as well, back then. But you know, there's opportunity.
But you got to wear a suit.
Yeah, well, that was the point, you know. So
that's what that's about.
What it boils down to.
Yeah. I valued it. You know, got the loss in wages, but hey, I get to go to work looking smart. So that ticks the box for me. But you can carve out a very good career for yourself. You know, there's lots of opportunity. People buy from people, don't they?
Absolutely. James, thank you so much for coming in.
Much.
It has been an absolute pleasure, and I've got a new respect and admiration for estate
agents. Yes, have I.
Thank you. That's 2 people convinced. Let's just hope we can get a few more on the.
Just the rest of the world to go now.
Yeah.
Right? James, thank you so much for coming on. And anyone who wants to get in touch with him, James Gunther at Fenwright. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.